Did you guys see this headline from today? Doctor thought man had brain tumor. Turned out he had a head full of worms. This is for all the medical doctors out there who make fun of people who want to do parasite cleanses or say that parasite cleanses are just grifting or scamming. I want you to listen very carefully because you're not schooled in this. You're just schooled in pharmaceutical bullshit. So listen very carefully. So a 60-year-old man went to his doctor because he had 2 weeks of excruciating headaches, behavior changes. Doctors did a CT scan. They saw lesions in his brain, but they thought it was cancer. But they ended up ruling that out, and they said, we did a full body scan, colonoscopy. They found nothing. They thought that was good news. So the doctors took a better look. They ordered a high-resolution MRI, and they ended up finding a tapeworm in his brain. So what's interesting about this is not new. You can find literature that this has happened many times. And they say that the worms in the brain come from people eating pigs. So I can assure you, tapeworm comes from more places than just eating animals. I have not eaten a pig since I was 18 years old. I am now almost 60 years old. And I had shared this story many times on my page about when I had a cyst in my liver, then I had a cyst in my spleen, then a cyst in my pancreas when I had an abdominal ultrasound. My doctors at the time said, it's nothing, it's benign, we'll keep an eye on it. I did the deep dive into the research and I realized this is probably a tapeworm. I've had cats my whole life. Cats will get tapeworms and it was probably transferred to me. I brought that information to my doctors. They thought I was absolutely insane. Even though I had the proof, they thought I was insane. And I ended up doing the biggest parasite cleanse of my life. I went back 8 months later, got an abdominal ultrasound, 0 cysts in any of my organs. So clearly I was onto something. And then there was a big story on Global News a couple of years ago, and I shared that on my page as well. A girl who had liver cancer. She went in, they removed part of her liver, part of her lung, and after the surgery, they realized, oops, this is not cancer. It was a parasite in her liver. And now that this story is being shared on social media, you're seeing stories like this. Someone had a family member with lymphoma. The surgeon went in to remove the tumor from the lung, and I remember being told they just kept pulling out a spaghetti-like worm. So this is a public service announcement. If you have tumors in any of your organs that they find either in a CT or an MRI, it's most likely not cancerous. It's most likely parasites. That's why it is imperative for every single human being on the planet, whether you eat animals or not eat animals, you need to do a very good parasite cleanse 2 to 3 times a year. No, I'm not going to tell you which parasite cleanse to do because they're designed differently for everybody. Find a good practitioner that does a good parasite cleanse. Make sure you do it properly, and then make sure you do them 2 to 3 times a year so this does not happen.